Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode will feature a client session with Tay Sol, a Scorpio sun who wants to integrate and unleash her dark feminine energy in the world, but she's not sure what life path to choose that will allow her to be in her true authenticity. Let's get into what her question was today. I feel like I have been called by Lilith to delve deeper into my shadow and embrace it completely. I have a business idea that would be profitable and allow me many comforts. However, it is in childcare, and I am a BDSM-loving, shroom-growing, witchy yogi woman. Love that. I am hesitant because Lilith is calling for my freedom and sovereignty, but stepping into this role would require me to hide these parts of myself that I don't want to hide anymore. My biggest concern is my career path. And secondly, my love relationships. Is polyamory slash non monogamy? Is that truly what my calling is? So let's get into today's episode. But before we do, I have an announcement first, and this is extremely time sensitive. I'm only talking about this for about the next 7 days, and I'm recording this introduction on July 30th. So I'm so excited about announcing the possibility, it's not set in stone yet, but the possibility of a 4 to 5 day Lilith Creative Wild Woman Retreat. So, to make this dream a reality, I need your help in choosing the perfect destination. Where does your heart long to unleash your unapologetically wild feminine spirit with me? So, I have released a survey before we get into all of the planning and investment of time into this to find out what you all would love to do on a retreat. And if any of you want to go, I'm going to need about 100 signups in order to commit to actually fully planning and putting on this retreat. And so far, I announced this yesterday on July 29th. So far, we have about a dozen. So at this moment, we don't have enough, but I'm hoping over the next week, all of you who really want to attend will stand up. So this is time sensitive. If you're listening to this after the survey is passed, my apologies. But I also want to note that please only respond to the survey if you have the interest in going and joining our retreat. I also want to announce that my Astro Tarot readings are now open for the month of August, just in time for Mercury retrograde. And this is both on lilithastrology.com and the intro app. So claim your spot now and find out what's in store personally for your specific chart. And both of those links, the link to the survey for the retreat and the link to purchase an astrology reading, is down in the show notes below. And I also incorporate the Oracle and Tarot as well. So let's get into my session with the fabulous, the beautiful Tay Sol. Hi, Tay Sol. Thank you so much for joining me today and putting your story live on the internet.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, Lilith, it's really interesting how you're bringing up sovereignty and Lilith and just really thinking about that a lot right now, because right now you're going through your Black Moon Lilith return.
Oh, see?
Are you familiar with that?
No.
So Black Moon Lilith returns back to the place it was when you were born, the zodiac sign, the house that Lilith was in the moment you were born, every 9 years. So every 9 years you go through a new, we can call it Lilith cycle. But basically all of the themes around your Lilith come up. And shadows that you have faced in the past around Lilith that are unresolved are going to come back around. So it's really interesting that you're asking about relationships and the nature of the relationships, because your Black Moon Lilith is in Libra, the zodiac sign of relationships, in your 7th house of relationships. So right now, Lilith is asking for you to take a look at the nature of your relationships. This is love. And you're a Scorpio sun.
Yeah.
So I know I am one too. And that also, I think, you can grapple with relationships. And sometimes we can be on one end of the spectrum, like, okay, I don't want something serious, or I want to detach myself from certain love situations. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we want to deeply bond with someone.
Facts.
So,
That's it. It's literally how it works.
so and I think it's different for everybody. Everyone has their own unique chart. But I think for you specifically, it is a lot of back and forth with that. So I love to share the image of the chart. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And let's dive right in. And for everyone listening to the podcast, you can also watch on Spotify and YouTube if you want to see the chart as well. I'm going to walk everyone through vocally as well. So you can keep listening if you want. So this is your true Black Moon Lilith in Libra. And it's centered in your 7th house of relationships. This is love. This is partnership. It can represent marriage. It's like serious bonds, serious relationships. And it also can represent business partnerships as well. So it can basically bring that dark feminine, wild woman nature into that area of life. I see you smiling here, so I think I hit the nail on the head.
Because literally yesterday I was sitting there like, or even when I was getting ready, I was like looking at my hair and I was just like, you're just like in this like wild woman like stage of your life, just being like totally like free. And it's funny, the other tarot deck or oracle deck I've been using like at the beginning of this like since my birthday until like the beginning of this year, it was a wild woman oracle deck. So like that's literally like, and I was just with a friend the other day, he was looking through it and he's like, this is the one you use the most, isn't I was like, yeah, I think I used it a lot. So when you said that, it's like, yeah, that's literally how I am, how I feel right now. Like,
Well, it's getting super activated right now, not only because Black Moon Lilith. I'll pause.
I'm sorry.
So right now you are in that, it's not like you are fully embodying your creative wild woman, but it's calling you. The wild is calling. Like literally, she's like, oh, she's like, wake up. But you haven't fully embraced that, which is what we, excuse me, sorry. So you haven't embraced it yet. And this is what you were writing to me about, is how to integrate that shadow. The wild woman is not just like running wild through the woods, like, hair a mess, but it's also about integrating the shame. It's integrating the sides of the feminine that are repressed and not fully seen. And some of what you were writing about to me, which makes sense with your sun in Scorpio in the 8th house of sex, but it makes sense that you're grappling with, okay, do I want to go into teaching children? Moon in Virgo, and also purity has to do with Virgo as well. So do I maintain this like, pure image, clean, squeaky, well-to-do, good, or do I fully integrate that dark side that is repressed and unseen? And I think it's also just tied with, in the Black community, like as Black women, it's like we may be over sexualized, but then we're shamed for our
being
sexuality.
Yeah.
So it's like you're also grappling with that as well too. So it's like the shame is kind of bubbling up to the surface, but it's not like oh, I'm so ashamed of what I'm doing. It's wanting to like push that down
Yeah.
because of shame. And so right now Lilith is calling for you to face it and to think about, is hiding who I am worth keeping the squeaky clean image and that path? Is that path actually what will get me excited every single day waking up? Is
Wow.
this path going to be my true essence? Like when you really think about Lilith's archetype and you think about the story, she couldn't choose being the submissive, docile wife and stepping into her son. Like she couldn't choose both.
Yeah.
Can't be both. And so she chose her sovereignty and she was demonized for it. She was quite literally turned into a demon. So, but the thing is though, that's also liberation, because it's like looking at that, like, I'm going to release the shame. I've done nothing wrong. And I'm going to step into a path that's more aligned for me. The sun is your life path. It's one of the parts of your life path. It's your essence. It's your ego. And sun in the 8th house, to me, like, unless you're going to be like a sex ed teacher where you're teaching just the side of sexuality and helping younger people understand it, like, I don't think that type of like childhood teaching is for you.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's for someone you once were. And I'm not trying to shoot down your dreams, so please, like, don't think that I'm like, no,
No.
I want you to be in your sovereignty and I want you to feel and wake up aligned. Because let me tell you, misalignment, that can bring depression, especially for Scorpios. When we're not doing something we love to do completely, where we're completely ourselves, there's just always something in, like, nagging you in the back of
Right.
your mind every day.
Definitely.
So,
So
go ahead.
since the because it's since the since I submitted, my questions and everything, I did decide to, I haven't like a completely abandoned that, like, that dream of like my own childcare. Like I think it's still something down the line, but I did end up starting to teach nude yoga. And yeah, so, and we just taught our first class on Friday, and it was amazing. And so between that and I just also got an offer to teach yoga at a pole dance studio. So I'm like, yeah, like, and I'm just like, okay, so this is like this is it. Like we're moving, and I took so it's like all these things and everything. Like it's still my, like in my yoga, my scope of my yoga and everything. Like I love that, and I think I know that that's just the path that I've been meant to be on this whole time. Like it just keeps coming, but in embracing all, like, and letting go of that shame, I got that offer, and then I was able to take a twerk yoga class yesterday, and I was just like, oh my god, I love this. And I was like, and it's finally like coming back, and I was thinking about, like you said, like pushing down that shame, letting it go, and how much, like when I was in college, like dancing was my thing, like going out and like I was, of course, like we're going out partying and drink, but like I wasn't off the dance floor. Like I'd go to the right, come back. Like, like that was what I did. And it made me feel so good. But I was you get that shame. Like you don't need to be going out. You don't need to be shaking your ass. You don't need to be doing this. I'm sorry, was I not supposed to? But you're not supposed to be doing these things. And like yesterday being in not only a yoga space, but a space where I was able to express myself and just dance and shake. I was just like, okay, all of these pieces are coming together. And then everything that you're saying is just also just bringing it all, like the confirmation of this is what we're going to move forward with, and, be able to share that. Like, I'm the teacher who taught me, I've already like set up a consultation. I'm like, I want to learn more about like how we can recreate this space, and, with the pole dancing, then ending up, creating a more sultry flow, and then helping other people embrace their sexuality as well.
That sounds in alignment to me. I mean, and I get why you're grappling with it, because I mean, yeah, being a teacher, it's like you have to portray, especially when it's children, you have to like you
Yeah.
have to portray a rated G image. That's just
Yeah.
what it is. So to me, it's like it's a very much either or. Like you've got to
Mhm.
choose. You've got to choose what's true. And there's a way, I think, to incorporate everything that you are into what you do.
Yeah.
You can receive money, get paid just for being yourself. Whether like it's twerk yoga, whether it's going out on a Saturday night, like consciously choosing every single day things that are aligned with you, it gets more opportunity thrown at you, which
Yeah.
you're seeing. Like all of these things are
Lining up and it's working out. And it's like, even thinking about like a few years ago, I did like this, it was like a self-love type event. And I mean, it still went well, but it didn't generate like what I thought it would. Like I thought it was, and like then I decided to, and it was still that empowerment, but it was still that cutesy, like we came like, dressed up and like, and not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it just wasn't still me. It wasn't my aesthetic. It wasn't. And then when I did my nude yoga and, I do this and it sells out, and people are supportive, and I get this diverse group of people that come in, and all these people are supporting and sharing it. And even with me switching to yoga, like there were more people, like people share my stuff. They're commenting more, they're engaging more with my, with everything that I have going on. And I'm like, okay, this is it. And we have to like leave that. That's not who you are. And you never felt good there. And just seeing the difference between these two different events that both were meant to empower, but the difference in the aesthetic and what I was trying to create and what I was able to create in like either one.
absolutely. And I think also you're a different type of teacher as
Yeah.
well. This is in your astrology. So let me just pop the chart up again. So we look at the 10th house of career, life path, when we also want to know more about it. Sun is a big part of that story. But you've got a stellium there, which is three or more planets. Let me say that again. So you've got a stellium there, which is 4 planets in one zodiac sign. And these are in Capricorn. So this is Capricorn, you can say, is more of a structured power, needs power, really motivated in one's career. But the types of planets you have there, this is on more of a healer, spiritual, unconventional way. And the reason why I say that is we've got Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus forming a conjunction in that area of your life. So you like structure and you know how to build, you know how to make the spiritual tangible, or you know how to make something practical for people to understand, like creativity practical. Like you can teach creatively. The
Mhm.
way that you deliver material is extremely creative, but it doesn't have to be just children. So it's using your gift for teaching,
Adults.
doing what it is. Yeah, for adults, like doing what it is that you
Big
truly love.
children.
And yeah, and like this is also, it's forming a sextile to all of your Scorpio in your 8th house. And another thing too is I don't think that like having authority figures in your work, like having a boss, having someone to answer to is your calling as well. Like I don't think that's great. Because your moon in Virgo, that's in the 6th house, is square Mercury in Sagittarius. So that to me, that can be power struggles and communication with authority figures and bosses, or people that even work under you as well. So you're a real like solo artist, in my opinion. And I think I can relate. I'm a Scorpio, and you see what I'm doing. Like I don't really unless you're doing something to uplift what I'm doing, like I don't work with people.
Yeah.
I don't think you work with others either. Like you collaborate, which I definitely encourage, especially with Libra in your house of collaboration. But I think you're meant to be an entrepreneur of your own thing. Is that
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, that's me. That's I've worked for myself for the past uh I just had my 3rd year anniversary. I do hair too. So I'm a loctician and I've been working for myself and like you said, like the struggle before, like I've never been done well with I've been a horrible employee. And it's only because I don't like the authoritative figure, but I've always been like I will say like childhood, I started babysitting early, like, like I'm the oldest. So like I started making my own money at like 10, 11. Like, and it was like, and my aunts would pay me to watch their kids, and so when I went to college and, I started working for other, or, like afterwards you start working for people, of course, like I went through retail and that was fine because like, you don't see your boss every day at Target or whatever. But like I always went back to like babysitting or nannying. And it was just like, because I was so comfortable with making my own income and not having a whole lot of overhead. And when I tried working for other people, it just never worked. And I would just be like, thank you. Like I had to look at like the last few situations. Like I learned about how to like really run my own business and the things and the connections and how to work with other people. But I was like, I can't work for you. And I had to come to terms with that. And once I did, like everything, the first year was tough, but after that, it was like, okay, we gotta, we have a good rhythm and flow with this. And now I'm adding yoga, and that's like take that now. That's even like propelling even further. Like I just have a like greater vision now, and yeah, I do work better alone. And like you said, collaborate. Like since being working in hair that's very solo. But now in like with everything that I'm doing, like it's been a whole lot more collaboration and making connections. But me oftentimes thinking about like I work at a yoga studio and they're very hands off. Like, they don't they've been good employers, but they're hands off. Like they're never there. They're not in your face all the time. They might call and ask, "Hey, what's going?" But and it works out well. I love the way that they run their business. If I were to ever be able to, if I ever decided to run a whole business, I would structure it after how they run it. But yeah, I think about that too. Like I don't know about having employees or like or having to like as much as I want to do more, the thought of having a whole lot of employees wouldn't sound ideal.
And
And
you
but
don't have
being
to.
able to work with other people and build up and we collaborate on this and we collaborate on that and you can even like if it were more independent contractor, like you can go out and do this and I'll pay you and leave me alone. Like and that's kind of like I trust you to do what you're gonna do and we're both gonna make money and then we both go whatever.
Yeah, that's literally what you should be doing. I mean, that's all. It's all up in your chart, and it's possible. You don't have to like. I think it's the old corporate structure model of thinking that we need to have like you have a boss, you have middle management, you got people under you. Like, there's a different way that we're working now, and especially with Pluto going into Aquarius in your 11th house, this is the next 20 years, collaborations are going to be extremely important for you. You got your North Node in Aquarius as well. So, yeah, you're someone who is meant to connect with a lot of people. And that's really going to help trigger transformation in personal growth, but and also your business dealings and what you do. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got the South Node in Leo, which I think is really interesting because Leo also rules like childhood education, like children. So, and right now, interestingly enough, with the transits, you've got Jupiter in Gemini in your 3rd house. This also represents like childhood communication. So right now you kind of got that on your brain and we're in Leo season right now. So it's really intensifying that. got Venus there as well. So I think we're Mercury shadow right now. This is July 22nd that we're filming this. And we're moving into Mercury retrograde in both Leo and Virgo over the next few weeks. So that is all going to kind of bring some of that retrograde energy of like revisiting that old way of working, or revisiting the thoughts around maybe that's my path as well too. So it's kind of like you might be feeling a little bit of crossroads over the next few weeks. But now that I've jumped to transits, I do want to mention the eclipse cycle and the nodal cycle right now is also activating your ascendant in Aries and your descendant in Libra. And this is an extremely powerful eclipse cycle because we had a total solar eclipse that was April 8th, so a couple months ago, and that was conjunct your ascendant. And so this is like a year where you are going to experience complete self-transformation and also transformation in your relationship. So the current monogamous polyamorous situation may change. If you're not feeling it, if you're feeling that already, there may be rumblings of said change. But I think about this eclipse cycle, the new one is starting in the fall. In September, we've got a Pisces lunar eclipse, but it's still going to be going on. We've got a couple more hits until the nodes change. So over the next 6 months, I think you definitely going to be questioning the situation. And then this also speaks to your Black Moon Lilith return in Libra with the South Node. It's also like facing that back and forth that you may be having, especially as a Scorpio, with like, I crave that deep bond with someone, but is the situation really giving me that? Or is lifestyle really giving me that? And you may even think about like, is celibacy, or have you been toying with that idea, like taking some time out?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely has been, we're like right on. So definitely have been like falling back from that. And just falling back from that idea of like, the polyamory, because I think for me accept like making that decision wasn't out of, I believe in it to an extent, because I believe like just loving everyone across the board, but the weighing in on the importance of like not only a romantic relationship but also your platonic relationships, your familiar relationships, and all other stuff. So polyamory in that sense, yes, it makes sense, but accepting it in my romantic life is just, I think for me, it was more of a trauma response to, I'm just going to accept these parts of people instead of fully accepting, like instead of finding not only like fully accepting myself, but finding someone that would fully love me and give me that entire relationship that I truly do want. So yes, so definitely, and like you said, the rumblings or like stepping away from it, definitely been working towards that as of late. And just stepping away and saying, no, I don't want this. This is what I want. And I'm willing to wait until I get that, and I see it. And it's not that it's something, I think at one point it was something that I felt like was out of my grasp. Where now I'm surrounded by this community of people that had it. And I see people, like the people in my life that I interact with, as reflection. So if they're capable of attaining it, and we're in this bubble together, then I'm capable of attaining it too. So stepping away from that, yes, and saying celibacy, yes. I said that we're gonna, work towards like 6 months and see what happens in that time, but really just focus on building out the things that I've been, working on, and realigning wholeheartedly with myself and setting up the life that I really want. And then in that time, as I, attract more of who I am and what I like, the things that I want to do for myself, then I will also attract that person.
Yeah, 100,000%. And that's a Black Moon Lilith and Libra lesson. So I'm actually going to tap into the cards for a little bit.
Okay.
And the two decks I'm using today are the Black Moon Lilith Cosmic Alchemy Oracle. So this is my deck. Everyone should know where to get it if you're listening, but if you don't, check the show notes. And I'm also going to use the Rider Waite Smith deck.
Okay.
So I'm going to tap into these two. And I actually, before I start reading what I was pulling while you were speaking, I'm really feeling called to read the Black Moon Lilith in Libra interpretation. So this is like a separate thing here, but I'm feeling this. So Black Moon Lilith in Libra, you deserve balance. Relationships are a delicate balance, and Black Moon Lilith in Libra indicates that resolution starts within you. You may currently be experiencing power struggles with others, and it's up to you to change if you want to break the cycle. Black Moon Lilith in Libra can create a feminine shadow around relationships, balance, love, and beauty. Venus is the planetary ruler of Libra and evokes the energy of the fertility goddess of ancient Rome. Symbolized by the scales, Libra represents Symbolized by the scales, Libra represents the balance, duality, and dynamics in relationships. When Black Moon Lilith is in the sign of Libra, your relationships can feel karmic and discord can ensue. So I have a section as well. I include some shadow work exercises with every interpretation in the deck. And for the Dark Divine Feminine shadow work prompt, release judgment around beauty by indulging in self-care. Try a spiritual bath, candles, and sensual oil, and embrace your shape by running the oil all over you. Speak positive affirmations as you do this. That resonates for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love oils, but I think also Black Moon Lilith and Libra can give us, it can make us feel self-conscious. It can make us feel self-conscious because of society's standards and kind of overfixating sometimes on our worthiness based on how we may appear to others, when it's like it's really all about the self. And I think that's a lesson you're learning during this Aries Libra eclipse cycle is like, it's about you. It's about you at the end of the day. So we've got the card Putrefaction, Shadow Release. And I liken this card actually to the Tower in tarot. And this is really like a dark night of the soul. So I think that you may have kind of gotten the inklings of this situation, but I think you were right on the cusp of changing everything, changing your entire reality and building a new one, essentially. And we have the Cibation card. So this is also about release as well, but this is like a release after the death as well. This is like a cleansing of the parts of you that no longer align or are kind of like stuck in the outskirts of your energy field. And now it's time to really it's time to just remove them. And yeah, I mean, I think this full moon was pretty impactful for you. This was yesterday. This was in Capricorn and Cancer. You have extremely important planets in both of those zodiac signs. So I think that this was a nice reveal. So we've got the moon card. This was a nice reveal of some of these things that need to cleanse out. People, places, and things. There may be some truths also coming up in the relationship area that you don't like. And maybe, I don't know if this is recent, if there was something triggering that's not good.
There are a few trigger, like you said, truths. Definitely. Like I had one person and we had stopped talking and we started talking again and they were like, well, we can restart, but if we, talk it out better. And like some days I went on vacation, so then some days came by and they were like, well, would you, like, I know you said that we could talk about like us starting our situationship back up. And I was just like, that was the worst word to ever use to describe it. And I was just like, yeah, no. I was like, but it was like, yes, that's the clarity of it. Like that's what it was. But like when you word it that way, it didn't sound appealing at all. And it just made me be like, no, I'm not going this way. And somebody else also like sent a mess, like they sent a reel. And we've been talking for like we've been dealing with each other for like a year now. And they were like, sending, it was like something like to this girl, to the woman who's like a girl, like who's not your girlfriend but still your friend. And it was just like, wait, what? Like and like, and we're in this situation, like and again, it's a situation like we're talking every day, we're spending time with each other, and like you still view me as a friend after all of that. And it was just like, as soon as that said that, like I was triggered, and I was just like, okay, like if that's like, it was just like plain simple out in like plain like, and I don't think he intended that. Like I know he didn't intend it that way. He thought he was being cute, and it was like being like all lovey dovey, and I was just like, no, sir, like you really just made it clear about what it is, and just been slowly like stepping away, because like we are still, like I said, we're still friends, we still talk, we still have like so many things like that we've just connected over. But I was just like, that part, any other part of our relationship, whether it's sexual, that whole like us flirting, all this stuff, that's dead, that's done. You just killed it, and you made it very clear that like that's how you see me, and that's how you're going to continue to see me, so that this is what it's going to be. And I was just like, it gave me like total like just disgust. Like, it's just like, but it was the truth of it. Like this is what it was. And it was just, there's something so much better about having clarity about what a situation is. And I'm like, this is not what I want. And continue to move through what I do want and what I don't want. But I have a very clear vision on what I want now. And I'm not going to stop at anything until I get that. And it doesn't mean that I give up on love. It doesn't mean that I give up on, meeting and connecting and talking to other people. I'm going to continue to do that. Like, but until I get that relationship, that commitment, that I know that I want, and I know that I'm worthy of, I'm not going to accept anything less than that.
That's spoken like a true Scorpio. And that's like when you get to that space and you create more from the inside out instead of reacting to who is and what is being presented to you, it makes life so much easier, especially for a Scorpio, because out of all the zodiac signs, I'm not saying this because I'm biased, but we are the alchemists. And you with an 8th house sun, you've got Mars, you've got Pluto there. Your thoughts can become reality. So you have to be very careful. Mercury and Sagittarius is in that same house as well. So what you're thinking and accepting, that's a big part of manifesting or creating a reality, is the treatment that you'll accept. That's all like the canvas to creating your reality. So you walking away and saying like, yeah, this isn't what I want. That's just initiating like a better cycle for yourself in love later on down the road. So the cards say it as well. But this is a card that's all about leaving. There may have been words, swords. So some communication that was like, yeah, exactly what you're saying. And it's time to leave. And it's also time to, I think, change up the lifestyle. Because you may have been a different person. Well, I think so. I think you were a different person when you entered into it, or you changed that about yourself. And so I think now you're like, I actually know. I actually know. And this is also, the cards are also saying with the Queen of Cups. So it's like she emotionally knows what's aligned for her. She knows how she wants to be treated. She creates her reality through her emotions as well. And she's someone who has mastered them. So it's like, okay, I'm not gonna like sit around and be in it. Like, I'm gonna go out. This is again here, Knight of Wands. I'm gonna go out and get this is it's literally as you were saying what you were saying. I was like, okay, well that's hard. Well,
That's
hard.
it.
Swift movement. This is swift change. This is like, okay, cute. You want to say that shit? Like, okay, well, bye. Like, I don't have time for this. I'm going to sit on my throne and move forward and find who and what is aligned for me. And I'm just loving down the road with that action that you're taking. It's just going to be fruitful for you, not only in finances, but this is like stability and feeling at peace, feeling tranquil, feeling happy by yourself. And through that, that's when you magnetize and align with someone who matches that energy. And I'm just so happy that you're on that course. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to do, because sometimes I have to do work around that. I'm like, okay, let's work around that. But you're very much like, yeah, you're on the right path, I think. And I think it's just like right now you're going through a time of letting go of the shame around the wild woman within.
Yeah.
I think that right now you are dancing with Lilith during your Black Moon Lilith return. This will be the next 9 months. So it's interesting that Lilith has this 9-month cycle in a zodiac sign. And before this transit in Libra, Black Moon Lilith was in Virgo and was activating your moon as well. That's your emotional world. So I think you've been courting Lilith, and then when Lilith moves into Scorpio at the end of this period, later this year, that's when she's really gonna activate you. So I see you conjunction, becoming whole again. So it's like integrating with Lilith. You're dancing with Lilith. They literally said, like, yeah. So conjunction, for those that are listening, becoming whole again. And it's just an image of Lilith and this masculine being here dancing. And you can see like she's leading the dance, but he's still like supportive. So I think that that's also something that you desire and need in a relationship, is someone who, yeah, kind of like what Lilith wanted. Like, not someone's gonna be like, gotta be submissive and like this crazy shit that's like being said, but you want someone to be a partner and accept you for who you are, everything. Not someone that wants like the Virgo moon, or someone wants the prim and proper, or someone wants the, yeah, it's like all of me. You have to accept all of me. So I think that let's look at the day. I want to see the day that Lilith moves into Scorpio. So November. So on this fall. And Pluto is also this fall moving back into Capricorn for the last time in our lifetimes. So this is like unfinished business in the area of your career, in the area of your life path. And there can also be some unfinished business with the mother or the paternal in your life.
Yeah, we've been working on that.
I didn't get into it as heavily on this episode because I wanted to focus, like, I want to focus on what you had inquired about. But maybe we can come back and you can do
yeah, we can do another one. But yeah, we've been working on that, and I think I'm at a place, especially like with my with my mother. I found we just did a trip together, and it was just me, her, and one of my aunts. So because I still always need like a small buffer, but like it was nice for it to just be us, and I really got to see her. I think that was the first time in all of these years that I saw her, and I saw all the things, and I saw the similarities, and I saw why she was so frustrated as a child when I was a child. And I see it because she was just like she was combating herself. And um so my heart has softened a little bit. Still with boundaries, but you know, we've really being able to spend that time and see her. And then after that I felt more capable of being vulnerable with her about something. And it was just something small, and she was able to receive it, and we talked about it, and I was able to just express myself, and that was it. And it was just such a great that period of time where like, yes, I understand X, Y, and Z, and I'm able to finally like kind of move past it.
That's positive.
Yeah.
Really good.
After like years and years. And I mean, even earlier this year, there was like a episode, but I was able to like, I'm always just been willing to try and heal that because I want to be a mother one day. And I want her to be there. I want her to be a part of that. And I have to also let go of that because a lot of the stuff that I know I'm angry about, I'm still capable of. And I want to not, I don't want to pass that on anymore, and I want to let it go, and I want to release it, and I want to be able to have a different relationship with my child.
Yeah.
My child.
Well, so in June 2025, so next year, you will be experiencing your Jupiter return. You have Jupiter in Cancer, which lucky you. Jupiter in Cancer is exalted. So Jupiter loves to be in the sign of Cancer. Jupiter represents luck, growth, personal growth. It can represent prosperity. And when you experience your Jupiter return, it's every 12 years, you can experience a nice burst of luck, personal growth. And yeah, your Jupiter is in the fourth house. This represents family, but the zodiac sign Cancer is representative of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
So this can come and bring some nice resolution to that area of your life. You have Chiron there as well. So Chiron is the wounded healer, and it can represent kind of like, yeah, just challenges in the zodiac sign that it's in. And it can represent challenges around the maternal figure in one's life. But the Jupiter return, though, is going to be a nice resolution to all of that. So I think that should positively progress next year.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Tay. I really appreciate it. And, love to see what you're up to.
Yes, I'll stay in contact, and I'll maybe do another one in like 6 months from now. Yeah. And thank you so much. Thank you for selecting me. And the cards have also, like, this year, I got them in January, and I was supposed to be like not buying any more Oracle decks. And I saw that, and I was like, these cards are beautiful. And I was like, they were so beautiful that like I was just showing people. I was just like, do you see these cards? Do you see these? I was like taking them around. I was like, look at these. Like, these are just so beautiful, so inspiring. I just love how it was interpreted, and it was like, at that time, like, we talked about like stepping in Lilith, like dancing with Lilith, and I was just like, I don't know why, but I want this. And I was like, these just are beautiful, and a beautiful representation of everything that I've been going through. And I use them almost daily now too. But yeah.
So much. Thank you so much. That's just,
yeah.
We'll on the podcast, but
I like had them one day. I went out with my aunt. We were using her car, and I had them with me. We had a picnic, and I left them in her car for like a week. And I was like, "Hey, like, she lives an hour away," and I was like, "I'm coming to pick them up." I was like, I need my cards. I can't breathe. I was like,
oh my gosh!
So, thank you so much for such a beautiful, like, just beautiful explanations. Everything has just been awesome. And I'm grateful to be able to share them and now this.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, we will definitely follow up. I can't wait to hear about how your business progresses and embrace Lilith, embrace the wild woman. I did. And let me tell you, I just you wake up with your mind clear when you're just like, I'm aligned to her. I'm aligned to that sovereignty. It's just freeing.
Okay.
Freeing. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.